Webcasting from North Central Wisconsin, I'm Jonathan Switzer, and this is the Roboblog Chronicles for the second week of March 2009. Since it's been forever and a half since our last installment, and this is the first show of the new year, I figured it would be worthwhile to look at where the Robotech franchise is right now, what the state of Robotech is. And the state of Robotech is a lot like it was about, let's say, 12, 13 years ago. Certainly not 10 years ago, because at that point, Robotech was, to all appearances, dead. Robotech 3000 was in development, or in development hell. The role-playing game had been canceled, the comic books were not coming out anymore, basically, for all intents and purposes, Robotech was dead in 1999, which is amusing and kind of ironic. But in 1996, 97, 98, there was still Robotech material coming out. If I remember right, the last Robotech novel came out in 96. The comic books were still coming out on a monthly basis in 96, on a bi-monthly basis in 97 and 98. There was still new role-playing material coming out during those years. There just wasn't the prospect of new animation. Likewise, Robotech Shadow Rising, the sequel to Robotech the Shadow Chronicles, is currently stalled while Warner Brothers works on the live-action movie. But we are getting stuff like this. Your new and, well, allegedly improved, certainly different, Robotech the Macross Saga sourcebook with Palladium Books RPG. We've got the Robotech Masters book, the next book after that one coming out a week from today. And that should be all kinds of interesting, with an all-new take on the Rise of the Southern Cross, with, an all-new history for the Robotech Masters, new Battloids, new Battle Armors, la-di-da. And on top of this new print material, we're getting the new toys. We got our freaking Beta Fighter. We've got a red freaking Beta Fighter. We've got the brand new Cyclone. We got new Cyclones coming out after that. We got more Beta Fighters. And as CollectionDX.com's report stated, there's a possibility for, certainly, all plastic, but, 2 packs of alphas and betas, and, there's new stuff coming out on the horizon if you're into toys. There's new stuff coming out on the horizon if you're into the RPG. There aren't any new comic books coming out, which disappoints me greatly, but Robotech continues to generate new merchandise, even without Shadow Rising coming out anytime soon. Which, to my way of thinking, makes Robotech the Shadow Chronicles a little more infuriating. I was actually reflecting on it earlier today, yesterday, I forget, all these days are a blur, but I was reflecting on watching it with a friend of mine sometime last year, I think. Yeah, it was last year. And how underwhelmed he was. And, I was also reflecting on listening to RDF Underground's Just You Aki reflecting on it a few months back, I think it was. And, on top of that, the review I highlighted some weeks ago. And, the film has myriad problems. I think the worst is, thinking about it, the fact that it almost didn't need to be done animated. It probably would have been a lot cheaper to do it live action. It all takes place in space, except for the few times when it doesn't. And during those sequences that aren't set in space, you could easily just go out into the woods somewhere and film those. I mean, it's really kind of sad. You know, all the sets could be, you know, just built on a soundstage somewhere, you know, with CG space in the background. You know, if it was done live action, you'd probably have money to do better CG effects shots. There's just not enough awesome in Robotech: The Shadow Chronicles. And that's really what the next movie's gonna have to have. It's gonna have to have a lot of awesome. It's gonna have a lot of, sets, and it's gonna have to have a lot of characters running around. It's just there just needs to be more there. It's a very bare bones, a very bottled up movie, and the more distance from it that I think we all get, the more unimpressed we are with it. I mean, to some extent, there's still in the back of my head, and I've talked about this before, there's still that sense of, there's an impossible thing sitting in the room back there. It shouldn't exist. I've still got that Carl Macek quote, embedded in my head. But at the same time, I also have to accept the reality of what it was. And, I mean, I remember coming out of the theater, after seeing it back that November, God, how long has it been? 2-3 years ago now. And, all my friends, my friend Anne, my friend Levi, and my later girlfriend, ex-girlfriend now, Elena, all just sort of looking at me like, you seem to be the least impressed of the three of us here. This was your whole big trip, and you're the one who's... Didn't you like it? And I've still got to process this. I had to process it. And I'm still processing it to this day. Clearly. At the same time, I do want, a tangible object of that particular production. I do want the My Sterling Alpha Fighter. Once they get the kinks worked out, once they get the new production run coming out. I was actually, the only reason I noticed that recall was because I was actually looking for a review of the item to see how it was, and it was really disheartening to see how badly they botched it, especially after doing 4 Alpha Fighters before that. But, anyway. So, I mean, that's kind of the state of Robotech as it is right now. And the state of where my head's at, clearly. So yeah. Same time next week. If you've got anything you want my musings on, shoot me an email, leave a comment, let me know. Otherwise, well, I'll come up with something. So this is Captain JLS, signing off.